about service. Why can't we move this? A very good afternoon and welcome to our live broadcast. My name is Mijungu. We are also live from Homa Bay County. We'll be speaking to Bernardo Juang in a little while, and I hope you're enjoying your Monday holiday. Well, we have a quick news update for you this afternoon. Let's begin from Rift Valley, where a team of political leaders in Rift Valley, led by Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, is preparing the region for a Building Bridges Initiative-led referendum, countering opposition being spearheaded by allies of Deputy President William Ruto. The Moi-led team has prepared a program to traverse the vast region, selling the President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga initiative.
Politicians opposed to Deputy President William Ruto in Rift Valley are regrouping. They have drawn up a program of preaching the anti-Ruto message in the region as they seek to chart their own course and show up numbers for President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga. Their starting point, taking advantage of murmurs against the Building Bridges initiative, as voiced by a number of politicians allied to DP Ruto.
Kazi yao ni kusema no. Hata kabla kuona swali, washaanza kusema no.
Raila Odinga, as the leader of the opposition in Kenya, should be in parliament. Kalonzo Musyoka should be in parliament. Musalia Mudavadi should be in parliament. Because it is only inside there that they can hold the government to check. Their political parties are in parliament, but they are outside. Huwezi endesha gari na umeshika steering and you are outside. Taendesha namna gani?
Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kama rais ya taifa la Kenya, naunga mkono Raila kwa ile handshake ambayo walifanya, sababu hiyo ilileta umoja kwa taifa letu.
Ingawa mnajua sisi mahali tunatoka tuliambiwa mambo ya handshake muweke kando. But I was the first person in my county to embrace the handshake and to invite all the leaders.
On Saturday, at a meeting in Census, Uasin Gishu County, presided over by Deputy President William Ruto, bold messages against the Building Bridges initiative were echoed by MPs allied to him in his presence.
Those people who are undertaking the BBI process is taking Kenyans for a ride, and we are not fools.
Wale watu wa BBI hawakuchukua maoni ya viongozi wa county 27. County number 27. We were never consulted. Let it go on record.
What Uhuru and his team have done is what every Kenyan has in their mind.
Don't pretend to go across the country, meeting in 5-star hotels and telling us you want to review the constitution.
Vile wameanza kusema no, wasirudi nyuma. Wakae hiyo no yao. Whatever the question comes out of it, wakae kwa no. Na wasiseme yes tena kwa sababu watakuwa watermelon.
The political leaders led by Baringo Senator Gideon Moi are also planning joint meetings with all supporters of the Building Bridges initiative. They hope to sell the BBI narrative in Rift Valley and neutralize DP Ruto's support.
Mimi nimemwalika former Prime Minister, amekuja kwangu mara mbili sasa. Yeye alipigiwa simu akaambiwa hakuna mtu atakukaribisha. Watu walikuwa wengi.
Elsewhere in Machakos, former Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama is charting his own political path.
Tunatafuta njia ingine ya kuiba, sio ile ya rais, ya ofisi ya rais na makamu wake sasa na mawaziri. Sasa tunaongeza waziri mkuu ambaye ataiba bila kuulizwa, naibu wake aibe bila kuulizwa. What we want is a well-disciplined leaders.
Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Very interesting views and the divide from one region, well, the drumbeats, and that's one of the things we're discussing tomorrow on Sidebar. So make sure you join us tomorrow because we have politicians, all the new, who are going to help us with that discussion. But moving on to another section of political leaders, this time from Western Kenya, who have once again revived the discussion to nominate Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi as the chief negotiator for the region as they support his quest for presidency. The leaders, led by Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli, say Mudavadi stands the best chance to lead that region.
Mtu akiwa kwenu mchinga na mmesema ndio spokesperson wenu, mtamfundisha how to negotiate. Saa hii watu wanapiga hesabu. Kwa wale wanaopiga hesabu sasa, Mbaluya ndio mtu yuko kwa mkia sasa. Is indecisive. He cannot make a decision. He is still waiting. Wengine wanasema watapatiwa. In politics, nobody gives you. Now the decision making is the key of any type of success.
Waungane wawachie mtu mmoja apembe bendera. Mtu mmoja huyo atatoka tu kwa hawa watu wa upande ya Waluyani. Waluya wenyewe wanapika kura na wanapika kura kwa wingi. Kwa hivyo wakipika kura kwa wingi, wachague kiongozi mmoja.
Ukienda Mombasa Coast, ukienda Ukisii, ukienda Central Province, ukienda Rift Valley, na hata mbunge Rift Valley amekuja hapa kuambia Mudavadi anakubalika Kenya nzima.
We have only one candidate in Kenya who can lead us in 2022. He happens to be one of our own. Don't guess, msibahatishe, msisitasite, tumchague nani? Musalia Mudavadi.
Uongozi wa urais uko kwa Musalia hapa. Kwa nini sisi tuwe tunababaika?
Right away from that, let's take you to Homa Bay now, where property of unknown value was lost after the county commissioner, that's Haman Shambi's house, was razed down last evening. The fire is said to have broken out at around 6:30 p.m. And Shambi is said to have been having tea with his family when they noticed smoke from one of the bedrooms. Residents who arrived at the scene were able to salvage some furniture from that structure. Water trucks were used to put out the fire, which had already consumed much of the one-story house located just behind the Homa Bay County Assembly. Investigations are ongoing to determine the possible cause of that fire.
Ndipo iweze kujulikana hasa chanzo cha moto huu ni nini. Mtu ambaye amedhurika, kuna mtu ameumia. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru Mungu, lakini karibu kila kitu kimepotea.
All right, to the reason why you're home today and we are working. Muslim faithful in Mombasa turned up in large numbers to mark al-Adha at the Ronald Ngala grounds. The morning prayers were led by Chief Kadhi Hamed Mukhtar. Kevin Mutai has the details.
Hundreds of Muslims in Mombasa gathered at Ronald Ngala grounds Monday morning to celebrate al-Adha, a religious holiday that marks the festival of sacrifice. The festival honors the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim, who was ready to sacrifice his son when he was commanded by God to do so.
Sadaka hii ni sadaka kwa ajili ya Mwenyezi Mungu na inatolewa kwa viumbe vya Mwenyezi Mungu wote. Kwa hivyo hii ni sadaka tunaomba ifike kwa ndugu zetu wote wa Kenya, Waislamu na wasiokuwa Waislamu.
The Muslim community across the world celebrate the day by sacrificing either cattle, goats, sheep, or even camels, and sharing the meat among friends, relatives, and the needy. The Muslim leadership of the coast took the opportunity to preach peace and unity. The holiday also marks the end of Hajj, where Muslims undertake days to cleanse their soul from the sins and instill a sense of equality and brotherhood among the community. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
And celebrations are not only happening in Mombasa, because in Wajir there were hundreds of residents who are also celebrating. Now the local leaders used that opportunity to urge the pastoralist communities to participate in the forthcoming census, as Nudin Moge now reports.
Muslims faithful in Wajir assemble at Qorahi grounds for the Eid al-Adha celebrations on Sunday.
The local leadership here in Wajir
took advantage of the Eid gathering to mobilize the residents for the forthcoming national population exercise. Led by Wajir Governor Mohammed Abdi, the leaders seemed certain that the population had doubled from 700,000 in 2009.
What we are counting on, both in terms of polygamy and that we do not normally go for the issue of family planning, we expect our population to hike more or even double what we experienced during the 2009 census.
We have already put structures in place. The national government has already made a commitment in terms of food, and the National Drought Management Authority will also probably provide some water tankering.
The leaders urged the pastoralist communities to return back home to ensure a seamless census, which in turn supports the planning process.
And those prophets of doom who thought somehow we are only endowed with the stones and trees, will be able to tell them that we have the numbers.
The long drought has seen some pastoralists cross into the neighboring countries of Somalia and Ethiopia in search of pasture. Nurzin Almoge, NTV, Wajir County.
Now, as Muslims in the country celebrate the holiday, about 2.5 million pilgrims took part in Sunday's Stoning of the Devil, the last major ritual of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. The first ritual requires walking 7 times around the Kaaba, a large black cube structure at the center of Mecca's Grand Mosque, made from granite and draped in cloth. The Kaaba stands nearly 15 meters tall, believed to have been the first built by Adam and then rebuilt by Abraham 4,000 years ago. It is towards the Kaaba that Muslims turn to prayer wherever they are in the world. Pilgrims next walk 7 times between 2 stone spots in the mosque. They then move on to Mina, around 5 kilometers away, ahead of the main rite of the pilgrimage at Mount Arafat. The Hajj, one of the world's largest religious gatherings, this year officially drew 2.49 million pilgrims to Islam's holiest sites in Saudi Arabia. All right, away from the celebrations, let's take a look at some other stories making stories. Insecurity continues to hamper irrigation projects in Nakwamuru and Lorogon areas served by the Takwel Dam. According to the Kerio Valley Development Authority Acting Chief Executive Officer Sami Naroporos, banditry has hindered some crucial projects in the area. Naporos spoke after he toured the Takwel Dam. He added that development around the dam will reduce banditry and cattle rustling among the communities living in the area. The inter-community clashes are attributed to competition over natural resources such as water.
Kwanza ni kuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama kamili kwa ajili ya wananchi ambayo wanaishi katika eneo hili. KVDA ina mpango wa lower tackle irrigation, kunyunyiziwa maji kwa mashamba ambayo labda kwa mwaka mmoja mwaka miwili itaweza kuanza ili kuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama, hii conflict imeenda chini.
Now, Murang'a Water and Sanitation Company is unable to repay a 695 million shilling loan advanced to the water company by the Africa Development Bank. The loan, which was taken before the devolved government was enacted, was meant to expand the water and sewerage connections. Speaking during a public participation in Murang'a town, the company's managing director blames the default on or in repayment of the loan to constant squabbles between it and the county government. Residents have asked the company to slightly increase the tariffs to help it continue with its operations. They say this is the only way to forestall the closure of the company.
So thank you so much, and we 8 water agencies.
Lakini tukisema bei ikuwe chini na tuko na madeni, at the end of the day this thing will be closed.
Kwa sababu maji ni maendeleo. Tusiambiwe na mtu ati tusilipe maji.
The big issue here is how we can raise that money
It was told challenges of getting water as consumers.
Na hii maneno tusiweke siasa. Gavana ako tayari, lakini usiletee Wajir kuketi hapa tuagiri kuongeza maji ya Murang'a. Tukitoka hapa, and I want to push on you, zile signature tumesema pale nje, msitumie kusema kwamba tumesikizana maji ya Murang'a iongezwe. That one I want to make it clear.
County government is very key in management of water sector in this county, and that's why even in the formation of the directors, 3 out of the directors I showed represent the stake of the county government.
Let's now move to Kajiado, where the county government has embarked on a process to distill and expand the drying Kiserian Dam following complaints of water shortage. Speaking while on a visit to the dam site, Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenko expressed his shock on the current human encroachment on the land meant for the mega dam. The dam is meant to be a major supplier of water to Ololaisa Water Company. Kajiado West and Kajiado North residents suffer the same predicament of water shortage despite the giant at their border.
We have lost close to 30–40% of our water due to siltation, and we will begin next week the process of desilting the dam so that we have sufficient water to the citizens.
All right, away from the country and across our borders, Hong Kong International Airport has cancelled all departures as anti-government protests in its main terminal continue for the 4th day. Now, these actions follows the warning from the flag carrier that the disruption could cause delays or even cancellation of the flights. There have also been calls for an emergency curfew to contain the protests that have failed to subside for the 10th consecutive weekend.
There have been calls for an emergency curfew to be imposed on the island of Hong Kong as protests persisted for the 10th consecutive weekend on Sunday and Monday. The police, who have come under fire for the use of excessive force on protesters, unveiled 2 water cannon trucks on Monday, carrying out demonstrations on several dummy torsos placed at different distances from the vehicles. Protesters have demanded an eye for an eye from the police after a female protester was hit in the eye with a beanbag. She was one of 45 injured in clashes with the police on Sunday. Beijing lawmakers have, however, come out in defense of the police, with the chairman of the Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation, Lawrence Ma, warning that the protesters risk lifetime imprisonment for violent acts and destruction of property.
There's Section 33, I think, which allows the executive government to impose a curfew on Hong Kong residents, where people have to remain indoor within the prescribed hours.
The protests, which began in opposition to a bill allowing extradition to mainland China, have morphed into a broader bid to reverse a slide of democratic freedoms in the special administrative region of China. They have been seen as the biggest threat to Beijing's rule since Britain handed Hong Kong over in 1997.
And away from that, Myanmar troops and emergency responders scrambled to provide aid in flood-hit parts of the country Sunday after a landslide killed at least 52 people. Hundreds of soldiers, firefighters and local rescue workers were still pulling bodies out of vehicles of the mud wreckage on Sunday. Heavy rains flooded roads and destroyed bridges that crumbled under the weight of the downpour. Families realized they had to leave in the early hours of Sunday, parking positions in boats, rowing towards higher grounds or swimming away. Now, floodwaters have submerged more than 4,000 homes in the state and displaced more than 25,000 residents who have sought shelter in monasteries and pagodas. Right, time now to play. And yesterday, Manchester United and Chelsea, Ida. Manchester United beat them 4-0. Well, Ida is here for all the sports. Ida?
Indeed, Ken. Thanks a lot for that. As you've said, it is time to play. I will try to be as neutral as possible here. And we are starting things off with the English Premier League. Manchester United head coach Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was full of praise for Paul Pogba.
Go out and find somebody who can make the right decision for the country.
You're the experts, you can tell me.
We have to change the way we arrive at our leaders. We have to.
Organized crime, terrorism, and corruption, they're really siblings.
We don't need 10 cases. We just need 2 cases done properly, and it will serve a lesson.
Justice can only be found if I prosecute what I have claimed, bring the evidence, and say this man is guilty.
AM Live, every weekday morning on NTV.
Na imekuwa ni ada, desturi na mazoea kwa Wakenya wengi kula, kulala, kuvaa na kupiga gumzo la siasa.
Masuala ya biashara, uvumbuzi, teknolojia na ubunifu. Muhimu ni
hela. Wajua pesa zilivunja milima. Vipi uachwe nyuma na uwezo unao?
Maendeleo ya binadamu au taifa hayawezekani bila afya.
Kwa ajili ya siha yako, tukutane kwa mijadala kuhusu afya bora.
Kama jamii tuna mengi ya kujivunia katika kila nyanja. Maishani kuna mitindo, desturi na hali tofauti za kufaana na kufanana.
Mwisho wa wiki ni mikiki. Iwe viwanjani au majukwaani, burudani halikosekani. Na unapofurahia mikiki, upo udaku sasa. Ilishaeleweka na bado kitaendelea kueleweka.
Everyone has a desire. Some desire and talk.
My name is Murebi Bob. I'm a press technician.
I wanted to be a driver like him.
Kwa mzara iko mzuri, unakula vizuri, unaishi vizuri. But some desire and make it a reality. Desiring is good, but getting the job done is better.
Sooner or later, utaona tu vijana wakikuja kuomba job.
Kuna miaka kama 6 sijalinda na nafanya kazi.
The mortuary has exposed me to the world.
My Job on NTV.
This is going to be a long conversation.
The hard thing to understand is why, if the number of deaths is disputed, then the extent of the situation might also actually be disputed.
These are not stories that are being told by somebody who's not been on the ground.
I have never known of any single time the Kenyan media and the international media came together to tell a lie.
Hatuna kwanza maji na inasemekana ni handshake.
Kwa hiyo serikali ikisema hakuna mambo ya jaa, hiyo hatuelewi sana.
Wacha watu wa media waendelee kumweka deputy president katika headlines.
Is it a surprise? This is the opinion from some Kenyans.
Where there is slants and there is bias, the public will see it.
Is it media taking a position against the DP?
These are questions which the media must wrap its mind around and set agenda for this country.
Yani, unataka tuendelee kuishi kwa hiyo kibanda ulikuwa unaishi ukiwa bado bachelor?
Sasa tunawachana, nataka tu tunafanya kitu tukiwa wawili.
Unajua hizo mistari za old syllabus tuliacha form 1.
Kwa sababu wewe ni senior Matianyu unakatiwa na nini power so?
I'm officially engaged to the prince, Crotus Sabong.
Kwani Crotus ni nani?
Crotus ndo mdosi wake.
Kumbe unataka kupendwa serikali eh?
Kukusaidia naweza kusaidia. Lakini kama unafikiria unalala pale kwangu, hiyo sahau. Wewe kulala pale ni kama Trump kucheza Saudi dance.
Sawa, mtarudi with a bang.
Hiyo usingizi yako ndio tulipia rent. Kwani umekuwa mtoto?
So Leones ndo anaenda kuhunt.
My name is Janet. It's either utawezana na mimi ama urudi pale umetoka. She's the best housemate around.
Hatukusema tunahitaji mashini ya kusiaga unga and a sweatshop.
I'm the only one who can start your madness. Ukweli. You are not the best maid.
When you meet a Luo carrying his briefcase, don't ask him whether he's going to work. Luos don't go to work. We attend to professional commitment.
Gangster main rule: avoid eye contact with your fans. Mutazoeana.
Mtu ako na homa lakini kusiniza na sneeze unashindwa hii ni homa ama ni nini? Unasikia
December babes, haki si mnatusumbua. Hati yo sinjui calm down is my birthday.
Sijui all people were born the same but legends were born in December. Mbona mnajisikianga hivyo ama mnaonanga mkikaa kale kamkate ka mwisho?
Nani?
Shetani machana yeye.
Shetani mugani? Shetani mugani? Tebu tuone shetani mugani?
Johnny.
Oh, kametokwa ho.
Slay Queen ni watu wezi simama na mguu zao zikiwa pamoja.
Simshaona vile yeye jikunja hapa. Kakuchukulia kapasi tu kadogo kazuri.
Like, are we together?
Yes.
So, like, you know, when he said that he's not ready
together like that.
Askari mwenye aliingia nadhani hajawahi patana na maiti ikiwa serious. Enda kuleta kichwa tukakutana yeye niki. Niligonga jeneza. Wakaachilia korami paraga chani karuka nene wakasema shaitani. Polisi mbio, mimi mbio, raia mbio kuondoka. Nisikia mama moja ameuliza iko nini? Nikamwambia wao uone maiti imeamuka.
The Wicked Edition, every Friday from 7:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Jina la Yesu litafika everywhere. Tuna dansi ya Yesu na gwara. Hakuna kama Yesu na gwara.
Nasikia ulidai. Nasikia Amina ulidai. Uko juu sana. Nasikia ulijidai. When the rap king utaitwa Foma Sahi. Wewe ni fala, ono mesleki. Wewe mjanja, wewe ni rapper fake.
Bum. Shake your bum. Bum. Shake your bum. I make you dance. Giddy go down. Giddy go down. Giddy.
Basi hapa ndipo na ndipo hapa. Kwa majina wananiita Trevor NTV mambo yote.
Too much, excess love. Consuming fire, burn it away. Not the power, your spirit, send your spirit down.
Right, left, right. Left to right and turn around. Okay.
Dance Uganda. All over. Dance Uganda. Yeah. Nakutana miujiza na kuokoa. Ile jina la Yesu. You keep talking about me, still I bring the fire.
Thank you very much. And of course, I can't do the game in the mud, I know. But again, I wish you well with your team, Chelsea. Thanks very much for the next matches. All right, before we close, let's go back to one of the stories we're following up for you, because it's politics. As the more established politicians take sides regarding the referendum, others are pushing a totally different agenda. A former presidential candidate and running mate believes merging the BBI and the Punguza Mzigo initiative will achieve quite more. Zakius Mwasame with the details.
The equitable remedy of justice is coming into acquisition of what belongs to you with clean hands.
Professor George Wajakoyo, a former running mate to 2013 presidential candidate Abdu Badida, says Raila Odinga's dismissal of Punguza Mzigo initiative is uncalled for. The USA-based Don proposes that the BBI team and Dr. Okuru Okoti's Punguza Mzigo initiative should come up with a formidable proposal to amend the constitution.
Appended my signature on my friend Dr. Ekuru. Both boats are good. There are things you can pick from one boat that is good, and you can also dispense from the other boat. Let us not play politics, because we are looking into an era whereby the transition is becoming very difficult.
Professor Wajakoya believes that merging the two proposals would yield a better constitution.
The way we see them, singing the song of the same person, and even if you ask them, have you been paying your taxes? What will they tell you? But they are so obsessed with power and money and stealing. And now you can see where theft is happening in this country. And you can see the people who are being arrested in this country.
The BBI team concluded its stakeholder forums last week before retreating to draft a report. Zakius Masami, NTV, Bungoma.
Well, a good point to end our broadcast this afternoon. Thank you very much for watching NTV at 1. My name is Mijungu. Enjoy your holiday and let's go and look for food. We also need to eat.